Blue Beetle is a bubble guppy who uses his powers like someone driving a car blind, because he doesn't even know what he's doing. He can barely fly, has anger issues, and he can't even breathe properly in the suit. But all of this goes a little loosey-goosey in the DC Comics ballet when Blue Beetle just starts going out of control. So hold on to your beetle and get ready for the Blue Beetle comic series. So this anime begins with a group of villains finally obtaining a backpack from another group of villains that contained the blueberry known as the Blue Beetle Scarab. And while this was going down, Reyes and his best friend Paco were driving around after a party, until suddenly these Goliath chucklenuts blew up a building and started fighting each other outside of it. But it started to get really topsy-turvy because Jaime is now in possession of the backpack, while Paco was getting beat up. So as a plan to lure these donkeys away, he ran away with the backpack. But this plan went more poorly than Meta making threads because he got stabbed in the back with a knife. But it also activated the Scarab and helped him become the Blue Beetle. And from the get-go, without a second to waste, Blue Beetle kills two of these guys when he didn't want to. Because if you don't know, Jaime just has to think about what he wants the suit to do, and the suit will just do it for him unless the goober doesn't comply with the suit. But that does not matter because he needs to get Paco out of here. So he sprouted some wings from his butt and flew away to a random place. But the Blue Beetle just forced him to go back home, crash land in his backyard, and unmask Jaime in order to protect his identity from his family, who also discovered him naked and with a new tattoo on his back, which they were not happy about. But while this was going on, what was happening with Paco? Well, after getting his meat beat by 4 strangers, this duffer decided to go to another party to cool down, only for a flash of light to occur, and Maroon 5 showed up with the intention of kidnapping Paco in hopes that they could get some answers about where the beetle is located. But anyways, it was the next day, and Jaime was getting bullied at school by some Aiden Ross fans, and he hid in the stall to try to make sure that his uncontrollable powers don't try to kill them. But it wasn't until a girl named Brenda walked into the room and told these wimps to get out of the bathroom. And Brenda came here not only to give Jaime an arousal, but also to let him know that Paco is in trouble and if he knows anything about a stolen backpack. So after hearing this new information, Jaime bolted out of the bathroom like someone who just discovered the Fountain of Youth and blasted away to try to find Paco. And it turns out he was inside of a house with the Paw Patrol right in front of it, and now in front of the blast zone of the Blue Beetle. And now a big bad fight is gonna go down. But what's really going down is Blue Beetle's head being dribbled on the ground like a basketball. So after asking the suit to just ejaculate something from his hands, he let out a massive explosion and neutralized everyone with ease. So after immediately caking these buffoons, he told the suit to just open up because he can't breathe. And even though the suit refused, he forced it to just comply. But it looks like this was worse timing than the release of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, because Paco came out of the house and Jaime was in his suit, which made the Blue Beetle hostile because now that the cover was blown, the suit pulled out a shard and immediately killed Paco. And this was not good. This was his best friend that he just killed, and he doesn't know what to do or how to react. So he asked the suit if it could heal wounds, and it can do that, but it could only do that for the host. But he has no time for debating this because his best friend is dying, and he needs to make the suit heal him. So the beetle decides to comply and eject another Blue Beetle and went inside of the wound to work some magic right before the ambulance came to take him to the hospital. And Jaime eventually went to the hospital, but he was just sitting there hating himself. But more specifically, hating the suit for how hasty it was. Is this seriously something that's going to happen every time someone finds out that he's the Blue Beetle? And the Scarab just replies by telling him to make sure that no one finds out about his identity, which sounds like a more lifeless response than the donkeys who say, "Did I ask?" But anyways, he left Paco in the hospital until one moment, his body started to go critical, and I don't know what funky juice this baby beetle caused, but it activated something that caused him to bust out of the hospital with the sole intention of hunting down the Blue Beetle. Now watch another video, you carrots, and see ya.